Good evening, guys. Welcome to NextGen IT courses. So today we have Palo Alto session, and our trainer, Miss Bhagyshree, is with us. Hi, Bhagyshree. How are you?
Hey, hi Sachin. I'm good. How are you?
Yes, all good. Thank you. So, Bhagyshree, without wasting time, we can start the session. You can introduce yourself, and you can introduce the product Palo Alto, and then we can start with the day one fundamental of Palo Alto.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Over to you.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Bhagyshree. So I will be the trainer for the Palo Alto Firewalls. Um, Good to see good number of people, and I hope we'll continue this session. And I'll try to cover most of the Palo Alto products information, and as well as I'll train you guys on the Palo Alto Firewalls and other and including other Palo Alto products as well. Okay. So, yes, let's start. I would like to ask few basic questions before we start. Let's understand what you guys understand by the term firewall. Anyone? Any idea?
It is blocks the inbound.
Uh, It is used to configure the internet access policies, prevent the malicious traffic, IDS,
Yeah,
IPS, content filtering,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
geographic location restrictions. Okay,
yeah, yeah, that's
many more things.
absolutely
Yes,
right.
but these are the main important things that that are
Okay.
configured in a firewall.
Yeah, right. That is regarding the configurations, right? So, what is the basic purpose of the firewall? What it will do if you have that in your environment, right? Suppose, let's say that if anyone doesn't know the meaning of the firewall, or if you guys have just heard about the Windows firewall, right, which you have in your Windows system, right? So, what it will do, it will inspect the traffic, right? So whatever the traffic that you are sending in or coming out, the firewall will inspect the traffic. Before we jump into the Palo Alto, let's first understand um, the basic functionality of the firewall so that it will be easy for you guys to relate between the actual Palo Alto firewalls or maybe any other firewalls. Like once you learn the fundamentals or once you understand the purpose of the firewall, why we need to have it in our environment and what is the purpose that we need to learn about it. If we learn the Palo Alto firewalls or maybe some other firewalls, what kind of opportunities that you guys can get in the market, right? So I would like to cover few basic things before we jump into the actual product. Okay, so you guys have dealt with the Windows firewall that in your system, right? What any idea what it will do? So maybe while you are downloading some malicious content, it will say it will block those traffic, right? It will block those files. Suppose let's say the file has any malware in it or the file has any vulnerability in it. So it will stop the download. It will not let you install in your system, right? So in that case, suppose in those scenarios, you know that the file is test file and you still want to download it, what you guys will do, you'll just go to the Windows security thing and you just turn off that firewall setting so that you can download for any of your virtual machine or maybe any for the testing purpose, right? So that's the basic functionality of the firewall. It just protects your network. It divides the internal network and the external network, right? So any idea what is internal network and what is the external network?
Internal network is the LAN, and external network is the outbound traffic, WAN communication.
Yeah,
That is
in
yeah, that
simple
is control.
terms, uh,
Intranet and internet.
yeah, exactly. So in simple terms, it is internet traffic, right? So on the internet, we cannot trust anyone. Anyone can see any information. Suppose let's say you're trying to read some servers or you're trying to download certain files, folders. So those things can be seen by the unknown person who is sitting on the file, who is sitting in the internet, right? So they can modify that information and send a false information to the server, or they can steal your internal information. So to protect these kind of thefts, I mean, these are the some basic activities of the firewall, right? So to prevent this in the larger environment, we place firewalls on the exterior side. Okay, so this is all about the firewalls. Okay, and I think, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself, I guess. So I have around 7 to 8 years of industrial experience working on multiple firewalls. Currently, I'm working as security architecture here in Ireland. And as I see the trend, the firewalls have a very big aspects in our environment, right? So we always need to monitor them, handle them, and as well as if you learn the firewalls concept, so it is one of the most it will add you more weightage to your resumes, and also it will open a lot of opportunities in the industry. People are not in these days, people are not just looking for the CCNA certified or the Palo Alto certified or maybe firewall certified. They just need a bundle of all the knowledges. You need to have a knowledge of routing switching as well. You need to have the basic understanding of the firewalls as well. You need to know the basic concept of proxies, VPNs, so all these things. So even if you guys are very new to the industry, it is still fine. You guys can start learning the firewalls, and eventually you have to try building a basic knowledge on security protocols. Okay, so the security protocols are the basic fundamentals while we start learning the Palo Alto firewalls. I will try to cover most of the things in my session. I'll start with the very basic things, and then I'll keep on gradually I mean, depending on the understanding level, depending on the what kind of um, experimental or the labs that we can set up, we can eventually we can start building our labs, start doing practicals, and we will also give the practical the lab sessions access to you guys, so that you guys can have the hands-on experience. Okay, so let's start with the Palo Alto firewalls. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can anyone confirm if they can see the PDF?
Yes.
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 All right,
Yes,
thank you.
it is visible.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's understand a Palo Alto portfolio, how it is, and what products they sell in the market. And as you know, the Palo Alto Networks is a very huge company, and they have um, uh, most of the customers all over the world. I have seen the customers all over the world. In fact, like in Asia, Europe, and as well as the US region. So once you guys learn the Palo Alto product, so it is easier to grasp the other products as well. For example, Fortinet or Cisco or any other firewalls like Sophos. There are multi other vendor products as well. But it's not necessary you need to learn each and every product. Once you have a hands-on with one product, it's just the terminology changes and the UI changes, that's it. So everything else, the functionality of the firewall is still the same. Okay. So now let's understand how the Palo Alto portfolio is divided. So they have divided the products into three different categories. One is Prisma, which is for the cloud security. Another one is Strata, which is like firewalls. In the Strata, mostly we will cover the VM firewalls, hardware firewalls, panoramas, the Global Protect VPN clients. So this everything will come under Strata, and we are going to deal with the Strata uh, their product. Okay, and Prisma is nothing but their cloud architecture. They have AWS Azure integrations, so where they can provide the cloud and hybrid security to the customers. And coming to the Cortex is nothing but their endpoint product. Like they have some of the Cortex XDR, which is like extended detection and response system, SIEM tools, and some of the endpoint protection incident response teams. So most of those products will cover on the Cortex. Okay. So Prisma is cloud, Strata is firewalls, and Cortex is the endpoint protection, like incident response and other things. Okay. So we are concentrating on mostly on the Strata products. So these all Strata products are the PA series firewalls. Okay. Have you guys seen the hardware model of the firewalls before?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so yeah, this is the hardware model. Like, I would not say this is a perfect one, but yeah, this is just like a box, a hardware box, and on the hardware box, you guys can see whether there will be multiple ports, uh, cable, and as well as the uplink cables. So depending on what kind of functionality that you need, suppose let's say you have users around 100 to 200 or maybe 500, a very small company, you can go for the lesser end of the firewalls, which is like PA 400 series, 800 series, or there are 2000 series firewalls as well. And if the company is very pretty big and you have around 3000, 4000 employees, and the bandwidth also pretty high, then you can go for the higher end series firewalls. So the higher end series firewalls will come under 3K series firewalls, 5K series firewalls, and 7K series firewalls. So these are the different series for the Palo Alto firewalls. And then next comes to the VM series firewalls, right? So what are the VM series firewalls? So those, as you can see, these are the hardware boxes. The VM firewalls are nothing but the virtualization firewalls, where we can host the firewalls on the any of the cloud infrastructure. So it doesn't necessarily you need to buy that hardware product and bring that into your data center, and then you need to rack it, cable it. So that all hassle is avoided here. So it's just a software application, how you guys can build your own computer on a AWS or Azure. So the same thing, the OS will be available on the AWS or multi other vendor cloud platforms as well. So we can host the firewall and do the backend, like if you guys want to have any sort of HA is nothing but high availability. If one firewall goes down, the second firewall will be up. So these are combinations that we can do. We can do load balancing. We can suppose, let's say, we have around 100 firewalls, right? So if we want to build 100 firewalls at one go, we can do a bootstrapping method. So we can run some code by either Python script or maybe the bootstrap code. So we can build all those 100 firewalls in one go. So that is time. I mean, time is not consumed much in this scenario. So we can do our work pretty fast. So all these data is maintained on the cloud firewalls, cloud platforms as well. So that's another product they have in the Strata. And another one is CN series firewalls, like containerized firewalls. So these are like pods where we automate the firewalls. We scale in and scale out and based on the requirement. So CN series firewalls are pretty good again, based on the requirement. So usually most of the companies will have the combinations of hardware series firewalls, VM series firewalls, and CN series firewalls. CN series firewalls are pretty best, but still the method is still same. It's just the hosting methodology is different. So the hardware firewalls are hosted on the data centers physically. The VM series firewalls are hosted on the virtual environment, like on a cloud. And the CN series firewalls are like a containers. So it's just you just need to run some commands, and this is just you have a CLI of the CN series firewall. There is no GUI for this. Okay. So these are the three products. Any questions that you guys have? we can discuss. Any questions on these three type of firewalls?
Any
Is
question?
there any difference between the CN series and the VM series firewall, like in configuration changes or view changes? Both are same.
Yeah, actually there's certain change. I mean, there are a few changes in CN series firewalls and VM series firewalls. So in VM series firewalls, you will have a GUI and CLI of the device. But in CN series firewalls, it's just CLI. It's just directly automatically added to your panorama. Okay, so I'll cover what is panorama in my next slide. So panorama is nothing but a centralized device. So what we can say is when we host a CN series firewall, it just directly adds into our panorama. You don't have to do it manually. Whether in VM series firewalls, we need to onboard the firewall manually onto the panorama. Okay, and coming to scale in and scale out as well. So we need we in VM series firewall, we need a manual interventions where we have to define certain things, like suppose let's say 9 to 5 is your peak business hours, right? So during 9 to 5 you need 10 firewalls, but during off peak times you need 5 firewalls, right? So this kind of configurations is done very easily on the CN series firewalls. It can be done on the VM series as well, but it is very doable on the CN series firewalls. And this can be hosted again on different types of cloud platforms.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? All right, so we'll move towards the next product, which is Panorama. This is also another important product in the Palo Alto. So what is Panorama? Panorama is just a managed devices, okay? It just manage uh, our firewalls. Suppose let's say we have 500 firewalls or 600 firewalls, right? So in our company. So individually going into each and every firewall, logging into that firewall, and then trying to change some configuration and pushing that configuration and committing that configuration will take a long hours. So for that reason, the panorama, we can divide the firewalls based on the regions. Suppose let's say in India you have 100 firewalls, in Europe you have 100 firewalls. So if you want to push some configurations in India region, so you just make one change and that change is pushed to all the India region firewalls with one go. So this, and also suppose let's say you want to upgrade certain firewalls, right? So going into each and every firewall and upgrading that firewall will become a time consuming again, right? So for that reason, from the panorama, we can upgrade those firewalls in a very quick manner, and we can have a track of the device. It's like having um, maybe a log collector. In the panorama, there one is panorama which acts as a management device, and another which the panorama which acts as a log collectors, right? So all of the logs, like 500 600 firewalls logs which are generated on the firewalls, are very huge. The firewall will inspect the traffic. It is not to store the logs, right? But in the companies, in most of the companies, we need to store those logs for certain troubleshooting or for the compliance reasons. So what we do, we just forward those logs to the log collectors, and the log collector will keep on collecting those logs, and it will purge the logs based on how the time we are setting. Suppose let's say we are setting purge the logs after 45 days or 60 days, it will purge the logs after that. So this is the panorama. Panorama can act as a management device, or panorama can be act as a log collector. Okay, so this is also another important again product in the Palo Alto. So I mean, it is easy, as well as if you make it very tedious, it will become a tedious, but we will try to cover some of the topics in our class and as well as we will try to understand how Panorama acts or how we can leverage Panorama in our industries, okay, how it can make our life or system administrator life easier further, right? So why we need to, I mean, the basic idea why we need to study firewalls, what is the purpose of studying, or why we need to have this industry knowledge is because the first thing is about security. You will build a data center, but who will provide the security for that, right? So I will not say the firewalls are the 100%, it will give 100% security, but this is one of the major security thing that it can give to the data centers or your internal network, okay? And now let's see what are the features of the next generation firewall, which is Palo Alto. So what it will do application app identification, okay? What app identification is. For example, uh, we have Facebook application or maybe Twitter or maybe Netflix. So these are the certain applications I'm just telling as examples. So whenever the traffic hits to the firewall, so based on the application identification, if it detects that app in their internal network, it will allow the traffic. If it needs some modification, if that app ID information is very less, then the traffic will be either not reach to the destination or the full packet will not reach towards the destination, okay? So the application, the app ID is one of the again important feature in the Palo Alto as well. So we will cover these topics and content ID, user ID, and the device identification. So these are also like the threat detection, malware detection, or any sort of wildfire. So those things we will, the Palo Alto Firewall will cover. And it is also important to know these features are available and how to set these features, how these features can be helpful in our organizations. So this is one of the important feature in the Palo Alto Firewalls. Okay, so now let's see where exactly we can place the Palo Alto Firewall. So as you see, this is our LAN network. Any questions?
No, continue.
Yeah, sure. All right. So as we can see, where exactly we need to place the firewall, right? So in our organization, in the data center, you know that in the OSI model, for example, okay, what is layer 1 in the OSI model? Any idea?
Application layer. See,
Yeah,
Physical.
that's layer 7. Yeah, layer 1 is physical layer, right?
yes,
Yeah.
physical
Okay,
layer.
what is layer 2?
Data link,
What is, yeah, and layer 3?
transport.
No.
No. Data link,
Network layer.
network layer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
And
session.
what devices you see in the network layer?
Switches.
Router.
Router, right. So if the same scenario, if you understand here, so the LAN is our layer 1. Like I will not say layer 1, but LAN is like we send the MAC addresses, like a physical addresses, right? So here we have layer 2 as a router, and layer 3 as a router, and switches as a layer 2. Okay, routers and switches will be placed here. And on the layer 4 we have a transport. So TCP and UDP protocols works on the transport layer, right? So what firewall will do will inspect that traffic, whatever the internal user, suppose let's say this user is sending certain traffic. So the switch will check the MAC table and it will route the traffic further, right? And the router will check its routing table, and if it has the route towards the firewall, it will route it. And what firewall will do? Firewall will inspect that traffic, right? What you mean by inspection is nothing but it will investigate whether the traffic which is coming from the user and going out. So we should not be leaking the private IP address towards the public, right? So we need to have a NAT. So that NAT can be done here. If we have the BGP configurations, we can do it on the firewalls, or so this private IP can be converted towards the public IP, and that NATed traffic is sent towards the ISP. So when the traffic comes back, so the firewall will see that traffic which it sent. So it will get to know that the NATed traffic that it has sent, it will try to match that session on the firewall, and it will send it back. So there's like a life of a packet in firewall, so that we need to study how it will check the application ID, how it will check the content ID, how it will check the user identification. So the user A, user B, user C, like if you have 100 of users, how it will identify those users, right? How the firewall will identify the applications, how the firewall will do malware detection. Okay, so like nowadays how people are doing a logs day in my life, right? The same thing we will study a packet life in the firewall. Okay, once the packet hits to the firewall, how the firewall will see that traffic. Okay, what exactly information it will see, how it will get to know where to egress that traffic, what is the egress point of the firewall, how it will divide the zones, how it will identify the routing. Okay, so these all things we will study in very deep once we start our session. Okay, and this is how the GUI looks like. So once you have your firewall hosted, so the GUI looks like this, and you just need to log in with your admin credentials. So this is a basic PA220 firewalls GUI. Okay, so here in the general information, we can see the basics of firewalls. What is the IP address of the firewall, and what is the serial number, model, what is the licenses that it has. Okay, application version, threat version. So these are the licenses that it has. These are the system resources. Like the usually Palo Alto firewalls will have two types of CPUs, right? One is management CPU and another one is data CPU. Okay, data plane CPU, like two planes. One is management plane, another one is data plane. So these things are very important, again, very important in aspect of interview purposes as well. Very important in learning. These are the fundamentals of learning before we learn the Palo Alto firewalls. So these things we need to learn. And these are this is like a basic dashboard. And these are, some of the Prisma, what exactly the Prisma do, and these are the just basic things like Prisma Access, Prisma SD-WAN. So these are the, again, some of the cloud security platforms, the portfolios that you have. It's just good to know the Palo Alto products, so that they always work hand in hand, right? So if you need not to know just Palo Alto firewalls, you need to know around the Palo Alto products as well. So that's like they always go together. So if the companies will not always just purchase firewalls, they also purchase cloud security, right? So it's just journey, right? Once you start with the Palo Alto firewalls, you can always upgrade yourself with a Prisma as well in future. So just it's good to know the products. So that's why I just have them here. And these are the other Cortex portfolios as well, Cortex products like XDR, XSOR, and these other products. So yeah, so this is about the basics of the firewalls. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this, or any sort of questions if you need to know.
What are the difference between the type of CPU? Like you said, data CPU.
Yeah, right. So why the Palo Alto firewalls have divided these two types of CPUs to divide the load? Okay, the management CPU will have certain roles and responsibilities that it will look after, and the data plane CPU will have certain roles and responsibilities. Okay, so the first thing is why they have divided the load, because the data plane CPU will check its all configurations, will keep a check on all configurations. Suppose you do a change in the firewall and you do a commit and push, right? So um, that work or that job has been taken care by management CPU. Okay. And why data plane CPU? Suppose, let's say, as a user, you hit on a firewall, right? Your traffic has been reached on the firewall, and how the traffic processes, these traffic process is done on the data plane. So this is a just simple example, but in a very deep, we have in many other aspects as well that we need to know what exactly the management CPU will do, what the data plane CPU. I will explain you in a minute, okay? So I think I have that diagram. I'll just get that and explain you. Any other questions you guys have about any sort of industrial questions or interview questions, or maybe preparation questions, or anything?
Yeah, like what's
Yeah, sorry, I think you were on a mute or something.
hello?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I was saying like what's the main difference between like Palo Alto Firewall and Fortinet Firewall and like checkpoint firewalls? Like what's the key difference?
Okay.
Why do company prefer sometimes Palo Alto and Fortinet and sometimes over like Palo Alto they prefer checkpoint? Like what's the reason behind of preferring those firewalls?
Yeah. If I can give you a simple example, we purchase
Mhm.
mobile phones, right? So
Yeah.
some people will choose Samsung, some people will choose iPhone, right? And some people will choose Motorola. It depends. Depends on the budget, right? Depends on the specifications that you need, right? Depends on
Yeah.
what purpose it is serving for you, right? So in terms of firewalls, the Palo Alto Firewall is a robust and um, especially it is little expensive than the Fortinet and Checkpoint. I would say that is for sure. The support is expensive, the product is expensive, and there are multiple other factors like throughput. And other licenses are also a little expensive on the Palo Alto, but it will give you a good quality. Okay. Just for example, while choosing a mobile phones, if you choose iPhone,
Mm.
then maybe it is more user friendly, right? But you will pay a lot for that as compared to Android, right? So it's the same
Mm.
thing. And with regards to the Fortinet, the functionality is again same. What firewall will do, there are different features that we can add and delete between these different types of firewalls, but the functionality will be the same again. The firewall, what is the purpose of the firewall? It will inspect the traffic. It will divide your network between the LAN and WAN, okay, your internal and external traffic. It will protect your internal traffic. So companies will choose based on the budget, the first and foremost key point that we need to consider. And the second thing is about how much, I mean, the companies will have combinations of Fortinet, Palo Alto, and Palo Alto firewalls as well. It is not necessarily that only Palo Alto firewalls. If one Palo Alto firewall is there, then rest of the firewalls should be Palo Alto only. No, it is not like that. They will have, I mean, some of the bigger companies, like if you have 5,000, 6,000 employees and all over the globe, your company is expanded, then you will have the combination of different firewalls as well, just like different cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, or GCP. So you will choose based
Mm.
on your requirement. So it is the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
All right.
Are we gonna discuss the physical firewall here, or I'm still going through the course content?
Okay. Yes, I mean, the functionality of physical firewall and virtual firewalls are same.
Mhm.
So we have our lab hosted on the virtual platform, of course, but it is a physical firewall OS, the operating system. So, but VM firewalls, like I can show you how we can host VM firewalls on AWS or Azure. It is easy. Once you learn how to host that, the rest other things are little same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about these opportunities in India for this Palo Alto Firewall?
Yeah.
It falls under network security, right?
Right, yeah, right. It falls under, I mean, it's not necessarily that you need to search, once you learn Palo Alto, you need to search network security jobs. So you can search for IT administrator jobs, okay, or system admin jobs, or
Okay.
you can always try for TAC engineer, which they keep on hiring in multiple places in India, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you learn Palo Alto Firewall as a basic, then there, as a TAC engineer, you can work on multiple other products as well, like routing, switching, firewalls. So the firewall will be on the layer 4, right? Where I mean, not on the layer 4, but we can have the application-based firewalls as well. But on the layer 3, we have routers. On the layer 2, we have switches. But on the transport layer, on the applications layer, we have firewall. So once you learn the firewall, you will mostly know the layer 2 and layer 3 devices, like, right? The protocols. So it's always good that you need to have the firewall in your resume or in your background. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, Bhagyshree, do you have your lab setup right now with you?
Yeah. Just give me a minute. Let
Yes,
me.
you can
I
show some.
just. Yeah, sure. I have a lab setup, but for some reason the firewall is not coming back, so I have to check on it. So can anyone confirm you can see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, sure. So this is a basic configuration of the Palo Alto firewalls, right? So suppose, let's say you got a new brand firewall in your hand, as a system engineer, as a IT admin. So what you need to do, how you need to take that firewall and do an initial configuration. So that we are going to cover in this lab, okay? What is zones? So the firewall works on a zone based. So like trust zone, untrust zone, or whatever you define it. Okay. So and how to attach the interfaces, how to take access of the firewall, how to put it in a rack. I mean, I can't show you the physically, but I can show you how we can do it in a data center environment, where exactly you need to plug in the cables and take SSH of the firewall and try to do certain configurations. So this is like a basic configurations. And also, like as I said, the Palo Alto Firewall will have the management CPU, right? So on the management, so we will take a access of the firewall on the management interface. So once we get a management interface, we will try to configure how to reach from desktop one to server. Okay, we will allow rules, try to create a rules on the firewall, web rules, and take a access. So I just need to start it, but this is not starting for some reason. Yeah, let me check my personal lab. Just give me a minute.
Yes, you can show that. Yes, guys, just 1 or 2 minutes more. Please stay connected. Yes, Bhagyshree.
Yeah, I don't think I have access as of now, uh, because my virtual machines are also not accessible for now because it's been a long time that I used.
Hmm. No problem. You can, continue with the basic one, or you can take question answer from the students or
Mhm.
career guidance if they required. We can, set up it up by tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So I will, bring the lab up tomorrow. So we will start with the first session of the Palo Alto Firewalls, like how we can set up that. So let me know if you guys have any questions. So I will also try to explain about uh, the basics of the firewall. So if you have any questions, we'll try to discuss that now with regards to
Yeah, so in this course curriculum, which all Palo Alto products will be discussed? You mentioned
uh,
several Palo
yeah.
Alto products, right? So which all will be discussed in this course?
So we will mostly concentrating on strata products. So there are multiple strata products as well. So we will mostly will cover on the fundamentals of the Palo Alto firewalls, how to configure it, and the PCNSE syllabus basically. So if you know about the PCNSE syllabus, uh, uh, like Palo Alto, the physical firewalls, PM series firewalls, and Panorama, Global Protect. So these are the few products that we will cover in this session.
Okay, this will be PCNSA and as well as PCNSA or
Yeah, PCNSC
both?
basically.
PCNSA, okay.
Yeah, so this certification has been renamed now from the 1st of August. So it is no longer a PCNSE certification, but the syllabus is still same. So it is called uh, Cloud Security Palo Alto certification or something. So now it has been renamed and the syllabus is also changed from the 1st of August. So we will cover based on the newest curriculum that they have. And again, we need to first understand the fundamentals of the firewall. So once we have in-depth knowledge how the firewall works, what is the purpose of the firewall, what are the different aspects of the firewall, we will go further and explore the cloud platforms as well.
Means like job-oriented content we are delivering here, right, Bhageshri? Right?
Sorry, yeah. What was the question?
Means job-oriented content we are delivering here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the mostly, yes, preferably it is job oriented. The real time scenarios we will cover, uh, how you can troubleshoot on the firewalls whenever you get some issues, what kind of a tickets that you will receive, and in the initial starting 3 to 4 years of experience, or maybe up to 6 years of experience, how we can troubleshoot, debug some of the most important debug commands, the debug methodologies I will share, and as well as certain scenarios like IPsec, right? IPsec scenario or NAT, how we can configure the NAT and what is the concept of NAT, how we can troubleshoot that, and also the content ID, wildfires. So these are the different types of the interview questions. Also, I will try to cover on in my daily sessions. So I'll keep on info. If I cover certain topic, I will give you some important interview questions also on it. So in interviews it is not always a straightforward questions, right? So they will always come with some scenarios and try to understand your knowledge on that scenario. So so we will build that scenario in our labs and we will gradually try to learn that topic.
And when you
Right.
mention debug, so I hope it will cover all like logs as well, right? Like what whichever kind of logs we collect based upon the based upon the issue.
Yeah. Logs in the sense, so the log debugging is completely different. So I mean, what I mean by debugging is nothing but, suppose let's say a PC is not able to reach to certain servers, right? If the NAT is not working, if the IPsec is not working, right? So instead of just wandering around the GUI, how we can leverage the CLI commands and then um, get more insights on the what exactly going on, how to check the errors, how to identify the error logs, right? So yes, those are. And as you say, as the log debugging, I mean, it is kind of a different concept in the Palo Alto as a log collector that I said. So I hope you're not talking about that, right?
No, I'm talking about like for any issue, if we want to collect the firewall logs.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So
yeah,
how we can collect the firewall logs?
yeah.
Yes, definitely we will cover that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Bhagyshree. This is Dhiren. And actually, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, Surendra.
when traffic is traveling from our outside of the firewall, right, and it is going to any destination, so how our traffic is secure and uh, what kind of they are using, technology for securing the traffic. So how it is
Yeah.
secure and how they are securing.
Okay. So you mean that, I mean, I would like to just reiterate your question, as you're not audible properly, so the rest of the crowd will also understand, right? So if any changes in the question, please let me know, okay? So you are trying to ask that when the traffic is reaching from source to destination, so how we can protect that traffic from source towards the destination, isn't it?
uh, how Palo Alto is, protecting, what kind of
Okay.
technology they are using, because they are using, public transport, right? Or they are
Yeah.
using any secure tunnel, right? Because
Yeah.
multiple, they are traffic are traveling using multiple, you know, ISPs. So
Mhm.
multiple ISPs using multiple kind of protection. But
Yeah.
how Palo Alto is saying that it is very much secure, right? As comparison to FortiGate or any other,
Mm.
firewall. Palo Alto is saying that if you are sending traffic, if you are using Palo Alto, firewall,
Mhm.
it's the most secure. So how, which kind of technology they are using, or how they are saying that traffic is more secure
Mm.
in case of firewall?
Okay. To answer this question in a high level, I would say the most of the Palo Alto firewalls are machine learning. Um, they have algorithms that run in that on most of the machine learning algorithms, right? So whenever, suppose let's say, they are in India, or maybe suppose let's say in India they have 10 clients, 10 Palo Alto clients, okay? And in one of the client got one vulnerability or maybe one attack, and that attack is automatically updated on the cloud database, the Palo Alto cloud database, and within a minute um, that attack has been updated on all other 10 different clients. So before the attacker moves into the next customer, so the Palo Alto will protect the other clients as well, okay? But the first customer will become the victim here. For that, they have um, the 0 day attacks nowadays. So there is one more concept they come up with as a 0 day attack. So it is like the Palo Alto firewall. I mean, that's what the wildfire concept comes in, right? So the wildfire will keep on checking its internal updates and try to protect uh, the entire traffic as well. So these cloud databases are located all over the world. I just told you the example of 10 customers, but the Palo Alto has the multiple customers on all around the world, right? So whenever there is one vulnerability that is released on a particular region, so it is spread across all over the customers, so that everyone else got protected. And whenever the firewall sees that type of a trend, right, that type of a traffic or a session, it will automatically block it because they have seen certain traffics which is harmful for the previous customers. So that's where they will block it. This is one of the example. Okay. The other example is based on the application identification, I would say. So the app ID, suppose let's say you have some custom applications or maybe some of the high risk applications that you don't want to allow in your organization, some of the AI contents or the AI based applications. So you can straight away block those traffic just by identifying them with the application name or the risk level as well. So this is another example. And some more examples, like we can build IPsec VPNs as well. And we can build between two different sites, between two different locations. Okay. So this is one more the security aspects that the Palo Alto has. And there are like many other things as well. The NAT is very basic thing, like it will protect your internal IP or the internal informations, which other vendor Palo Alto products will also do. But the major thing is the Palo Alto products are they have machine learning algorithms that keep on running inside all of the hardware firewalls as well, and as well as software firewalls as well. And they keep on updating their cloud database uh, every minute or every day, I would say, depending on how we keep our updates keeping going. So there is URL filtering concept, there's user ID, device ID as well, and the global protect is again the VPN concept. So it is not just one single point that the Palo Alto will protect on that. So it is a combination of multiple other things where we can protect from, I mean, the LAN networks. Does that answer your question, Dharmender? Sorry, Dhirender?
Yes, most of the question I have got answer of the most of the my question. But little bit I would ask one more question I have. Like
Yeah,
in
sure.
like in Zscaler. Zscaler says that they have their own, a route for sending and receiving packets,
Yeah.
their own. But in Palo Alto, is there Palo Alto having any their particular route, predefined route for the traveling packets?
Um, I mean, Zscaler will also have the proxies, right? The predefined routes, yes, there are predefined routes as well that we can configure on the Palo Altos. But it depends on the configuration, how would you like to do it. There is no mandatory that there is like policy-based forwarding concept as well, and the routing concepts that we can define. But that's not a mandatory thing. We can configure it in such a way that we can have those routes or we cannot have those routes. So that's the one thing. And we can also have the proxy routing also configured on the Palo Altos. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now
Yeah.
over to you.
Any other questions? Okay, so if you guys don't have question, I will try to cover what exactly the control plane and the data plane is. So this is again one of the basic fundamental of the Palo Alto Firewall, right? So let me share my screen. Can anyone confirm if they can see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sure. So these are certain set of Palo Alto Firewalls. Okay, so you can see the smallest one is PA200 series firewall, PA400. These are all hardware firewalls, by the way. Okay, so these are why the firewalls are called next generation firewalls. What it makes next generation firewalls, what are the things that it does. I mean, the traditional firewalls would just inspect the traffic. That will, whenever it sees the traffic, it will check the different concepts, and it will just route that traffic outside. So the Palo Alto Firewall have slow path and as well as fast path, right? So what is slow path mean, right? It's in slow path. So whenever a firewall sees the traffic, whenever the first packet hits on the firewall, right? So it will check each and every information inside the traffic and will route that traffic towards the exit. And when the traffic comes back, it will identify that the traffic has been sent out, and it recognizes that traffic and it lets it in towards the source. Okay, this is slow path. What if the same user is trying to connect towards the same server again? So it need not to be checked each and every configuration, like tuples, we call it 6 tuples. So it need not to check each and everything in the fast path. It will just identifies, yes, I can trust the device, I can trust the traffic. It will just send the traffic out, and once it comes back, it will identify that traffic and will send it in. So this is less slow path and the fast path. So it will basically saves a lot of CPU usage and the memory utilization in the firewall. So that is also one of the major reason that we call next generation firewalls. Okay, so here we can see PA200 and 400 series firewalls are pretty smaller series, and 3K series firewalls are pretty big, 5K series firewalls, and this is 7K series firewalls. So only large organizations will have the 7K series firewalls. It is good to know. I mean, the basic fundamentals are still same. Only the memory, the hard disk that you have inside this 7K series firewalls are a large. Okay, there are certain little configurations difference here and there. So eventually, while you exploring different types of products, so you will get to know. Okay, so this is I mean, how the management plane and the data plane is divided between the Palo Alto Firewall, what it does in the management plane and what it does in the data plane. So that we can see here. Okay, so as we can see, okay, as we can see, so on the management plane, so the configuration, logging, and reporting will takes place on the management plane. Okay, and also suppose let's say you have HA. HA is nothing but high availability. So the HA high availability is taken care on the management plane. So what is HA? HA is nothing but you have two firewalls, and both of these two firewalls are located as a HA. Okay, and if this firewall goes down, this firewall will be still up, and whatever the traffic that are going through here will route towards here, and it will gets it out. So you don't need to have, I mean, there will be no downtime if the firewall goes down or something. Okay, so that's the reason we have high availability setup in most of the organizations. So this high availability setup can be done on the, I mean, it is done on the management plane. Okay, so what is configuration thing that the management interface is taking care? Suppose let's say you have written one policy. Okay, so you want to allow a Facebook towards certain user, and you have wrote that policy, and then you did a commit, right? In Palo Alto Firewall, we do a commit and push, right? From the panorama, we do push, and on the Palo Alto Firewall, we just do commit, so that whatever we have done changes, it will get applied on the firewall. Okay, so whenever we do a commit, whenever there is a configuration change, so that is utilizing certain memory and CPU in the firewall, and that memory and CPU is coming from the management interface. Okay, so whenever we see logs, right? So whenever the user is trying to reach outside, or whenever there is a logs in the firewall, that log is written on the again management interface. And the threat reporting and ACC, there is one tab called ACC report on the Palo Alto Firewalls. I will show you once we start the session tomorrow. Okay, so those all reporting things are taken care by the management interface, the management plane on the Palo Alto Firewalls. So yeah, this is so here if I just show you. Okay, so so here in this is PA820 device series firewall. Okay, so you can see here the console port. So one, if I can zoom in a little, this is a console port, and this is a management port, and this is a HA port. So I would say this is a management plane. Okay, this section is management plane and this section is data plane. Okay, so now you guys understood what exactly the management plane. In the management plane, so the management access will be there. So if you connect this management access to your PC, and you can take access to this firewall. So that's a user, maybe a user is sitting here and he is trying to take a access of the device, okay, on the management interface. So the HA interface, so there will be a similar device here in the down, and you will connect this device to here and this device to here. So whenever this device, if in case this device goes down, this device will be still up to take the traffic. There will be no downtime. Okay, so this is all about the management plane. Now let's understand what is data plane.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Can you go that slide, this HA port?
Yeah,
This HA port is PA2 80, 820, right? This
yeah,
firewall name is
yeah.
P820. So it has, this is RJ45 jack LAN port, right?
Mm.
Just beside this, it has, this kind of mm, this SFP port, right? I
Yeah,
think it's a fiber, right?
yeah,
Uh, this extreme side, it has, again RJ45, right?
yeah.
4 RJ45, 4
Mm.
SFP port, again 4 SFP port. So why there are two different type of port it has?
Mm.
4 RJ45, again 4 SFP
Mm.
type, again
Yeah.
4 SFP type.
So these are basically data planes. Okay, this is a management plane.
Uh, does it have different type of
Different type of.
speed bandwidth?
Yes, of course, because the purpose is different, right? So the HA is to connect between the different device, and these data plane CPUs will be connecting to your switch or maybe a router, and then from the switch it will connect to different PCs. And
Okay.
this is how the traffic travels towards this interface, and this interface will exit the traffic towards the internet.
Okay. So all the firewall have RJ45, LAN port only for the style this one. HA,
No, not
HA.
necessarily. It depends on the model.
Okay.
Yeah. So even in, I think in PA2820, so I mean the lower end series firewalls like 400 and 800 series firewall, they have only one plane, which is management plane. So everything is managed on that only. So only on the higher end devices like 2K series, 3 3K and 5K, 7K, they have two different planes. So this is like a very small device that they have. So it's logically divided, but physically it is not divided. So inside this, it is a single plane it is, but logically when you see the logs and when you try to debug it, only TAC people will understand, they will know that like PA820 will have one plane, and that's why it will keep the CPU utilization will always go high for the PA820 devices because of, yeah, like a limitation, I would say. I mean, not limitation, if you exceed the usage, right? Suppose, let's say, if you exceed the usage, then definitely the CPU utilization will go, right?
And one USB port is also there backside.
Yeah,
What
USB
is,
port, right?
yeah, why it is for?
This is to, like, suppose, I mean, if you want to export the configurations or something, you
Or
can do that
upgrade,
on there. Yeah.
or if you want to upgrade as well, right? You
Yeah,
can use
you
that.
can upgrade if this doesn't have the internet access, then yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
now
problem.
proceed.
Any
And
other
the
questions?
HA is active or active passive?
It is based on the configurations. We can do active as well, active passive as well. Yeah, that's a good question. So in active, both the traffic will be synced between two devices, and in active passive, one device will be in a silent mode, and only if the active goes down, the passive will become active. In active, both the firewalls will sync their configurations or sync their settings,
What is it?
and it is kind of a load balancing.
Okay.
Does that
If
answer your question?
if
Yeah.
both HA goes down, then
That's a very rare scenario that will happen. If, I mean, in mostly it will happen, like, suppose, let's say you have complete data center shutdown or something, no power supply to the data centers or something like that. If the both HAs goes down, then you will not have access to the internet. So your users will start complaining about they are not trying to, I mean, they are not able to access anything outside. Yeah, that's where the TAC people will come into the picture and they will call, or I mean, mostly if they are not able to resolve it as a system engineer or IT admin, so you will call a TAC and then you'll try to resolve the issues, and you will, I mean, try to at least get a RCA, which is root cause analysis, why both HA went down at the same time, because that's a business interruption, right? So you need to give a justification to your management as well. So that's where you will do a deep research analysis in this scenario.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we will quickly cover the data plane CPU and then okay. So what exactly the data plane CPU? So the data plane CPUs are which covers the signature matching, okay, and security processing components, which is like app ID, user ID, URL match, and policy match, and also the network processing like the flow control, MAC lookup, route lookup. So basically the egress interfaces. So the data plane CPU is for all the other features that the Palo Alto has. The management CPU is for mostly for the configurations and logging and reporting, and also which includes the HA configuration as well. So the data plane CPU, suppose let's say the user hits onto the firewall, so that traffic will have its source IP, destination IP, source zone, destination zone, protocol, right, and port number. So see, these are the 6 tuples in the Palo Alto firewalls. So these tuples will be looked into the data plane. So it will also, and after looking into these 6 tuples, after creating a session, after looking into this, it will create a session on the firewall, like session 1, session 2, session 3. So it will keep on numbering those traffic so that it will remember that traffic once it comes back. Okay. So after checking on those tuples, so it will check the app ID, URL ID, and URL match. So these are the security processing that will be done on the data plane as well, and the signature matches. Suppose, let's say you have viruses, exploits, or vulnerabilities, malware, any sort of, so these are signature based vulnerabilities, right? So those are checked on the data plane as well. So I will show you where exactly the data plane is. So this is where we can divide, this is a management plane, okay, and this is a data plane, okay. So, I mean, as I said, the Palo Alto firewalls are on the layer 4, right? Or layer 1, which is on the application layer. So below this, you will have a router maybe, right? And a switch as well. Okay. And from the switch, you will have the users which are connecting from here. Okay. And these users will pass the traffic to the switch. Switch will check its MAC table and it will pass the traffic to the router. Router will check the routing table and then it will pass the traffic towards the Palo Alto Firewall. Palo Alto Firewall will inspect the traffic and then it will send the traffic out. Okay, so the deep inspection things and everything, we will how it will be done, we will cover in our class with the practicals. Okay, any questions? Any questions?
Yes. What is duration of this course?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Duration of this course.
Sorry,
What?
duration?
Yeah, duration of this course.
Okay, so we'll try to cover this within 45 classes. Okay. Between 35 to 45, I will cover all the basic fundamentals, some troubleshooting steps and scenarios.
Each classes will be 1 hour or 2 hour?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah. So I will have 1.5 hour session and then beginning 15 minutes and at the end 15 minutes will open for the Q&A.
We get the lab facility as well, right? To
Yeah,
practice.
that's right. Yeah, you will get the access to the lab.
Okay.
Uh,
Are we gonna play around for the firewalls? I mean, is there
Yes,
any?
exactly. You will get a hands-on experience.
Okay. I
uh,
mean, after
this
completion.
training is based on virtual firewall. Yeah, we will see a physical firewall also. Configuration will be done on physical version.
The setup is like virtual only. So we have hosted this on one of the cloud platform. Uh, but as I said, the fundamentals are same for the physical firewalls and virtual firewalls. We will not confuse we will not be going to confuse between VM firewalls and the hardware firewalls. We will first try to understand the concept, which are very similar. Like 90% of the concepts are same on VM series firewalls and hardware firewalls. So the main difference is how we can host the VM firewalls on the Azure or AWS. Show you that in one class. So it is easy. You guys can have the free tier on AWS, which is like 6 months or 1 year free, and then you can host your own firewall there.
Okay, from my side, it's done. Anybody?
So let me know if you guys have any questions. So I'll try to answer.
So it will be weekdays, Monday to Friday, right?
Regarding schedule, I think we'll check with the course coordinators.
Monday to Friday, 9 p.m., 9 to 10:30. And I'm not creating any FOMO for everyone. You all knows that we have Raksha Bandhan day after tomorrow. So we are having one offer that you can connect with the admission team for first 10 user. We have kept some lucrative offer and the pricing. So I hope you have checked the quality and you liked it, and you can enroll in this course, and you can cover up the network security profile in industry. Yeah. If you guys have any question further, you can ask with Bhagyshree. Else we can, sum up the class for today, and tomorrow we can connect again 9 p.m. sharp. Yes, anyone? Yeah. So, okay, Bhagyshree, so let's finish the session today. And thanks, guys, for the time. Thanks, Bhagyshree, for today's session. And let's meet tomorrow, same time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, everyone. Please feel free to come back with the questions. Do some research on the firewalls, of course, and be prepared. We will have a good start. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.